this video, we will learn to create chord progressions based on the concept of chord function. By following the principles of chord function, we can understand how to create progressions with or without forward motion. Chords within keys function in three primary ways: as tonic, subdominant, or dominant. The term tonic specifically refers to the one chord in a major or minor key. We will begin by charting the chords in major. The one chord has a feeling of rest or a sense of being home. It is the chord that will most often end a piece of music by providing a sense of completion. Two other chords function in a similar way to the one chord: 6 and 3. So we say that these chords have a tonic function. From a tonic function chord, we can move to any other chord in the key. The term dominant specifically refers to the 5 chord. The 5 chord provides a feeling of motion or a sense that it needs to return home to the tonic. Occasionally, a composition will end on the 5 chord, making the piece feel like it is hanging or incomplete. The 7 diminished chord functions in a similar way to 5, so we say that it has dominant function. The term subdominant specifically refers to the 4 chord. The 4 chord does not have a sense of home or resolution like the tonic chord, nor does it have a sense of pullback to the tonic. It is a chord that can move on to the dominant, therefore it sometimes is referred to as a predominant chord, but it can also return to tonic. The 2 chord is used interchangeably with the 4 as a subdominant function chord. Now let's create a chord progression that observes the tendencies of tonic, subdominant, and dominant function. Chord progressions can start on any chord in the key, but we tend to initially perceive the first chord of a composition as 1. 1 is the most common chord to begin a piece with, and 5 would be common as well. If we start a progression on a chord other than 1, it will take some time for the progression to confirm what home is. Let's begin our sample progression on 1. From 1, we could go to any other chord in the key. Let's go to 2. With 2 being a subdominant function, we can move on to dominant, return to tonic, or it is possible with all of these functions to stay in the same category. It is the changing of categories, however, that provides the sense of forward motion or progression. Let's move on to 5 as a dominant function. From a dominant function, we could stay in the same category, but the strongest sense of motion would be provided by returning to a tonic function. Let's choose 6. With 6 being a tonic function, we can move to any other chord. Let's move to 7 diminished. With 7 diminished being a dominant function, we'll need to move back to tonic. Let's move to 3. With 3 being a tonic function, we can move to any other chord. So let's move to 4. From 4, we can stay in the subdominant function category and move to 2. We can progress on to a dominant function or move back to tonic. Let's have a strong ending to our progression by moving to 5, which will pull strongly back to 1. Here is the sound of the progression that we have created. Note again that by changing categories and following the principles of chord function, we can create progressions that have forward motion back to 1. If a series of chords stays in one category for a prolonged period of time, it does not have a sense of progression or forward motion. For example, let's use the progression 1, 3, 1, 6, 4, 1. All of the chords in the series have tonic function except 4. In addition to the majority of the chords coming from the tonic category, the progression does not include a dominant function chord that would bring the series strongly home to 1. Let's hear the progression. This progression has a pleasant sound, but it lacks the forward motion of the common practice in standard jazz composers. In a minor key, we have the same basic relationships between chords as in major, only the qualities of the chords change to reflect the darker sound of minor. Following is the function chart for the most common chords in a minor key. Notice that the Roman numerals fall in the same categories, but 1 is minor and 3 and 6 are major. 4 is minor and 2 is diminished. Only 5 and 7 diminished remain the same. Here is the first progression that we created, but in a minor key. While the concept of harmonic function will help us create chord progressions that have a pleasant sound and a sense of forward motion, we can inadvertently come up with chord movements that common practice and standard jazz composers would not have used. In the next video, we will learn how to further refine our progressions so that they follow the conventions of the common practice in standard jazz, keeping in mind that a series of chords with a strong sense of progression works well in any style of music.